following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WZWA Network, and welcome to our review show here of AEW Revolution 2023 from March 5th at the Chase Center in San Fran, California. I'm your host, Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy. How are you, bruh?
Oh, man, I'm pretty fantastic. Quite an interesting show to talk about here, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah. So did you watch 0 Hour?
No.
Okay. Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers defeated Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes, Josh Woods and Tony Nese. That's all that happened, apparently. I did not watch it because there was only one match and, didn't have the time. But they should have at least thrown a TBS title match for Jade on there. It's an hour long. You can fit 2 matches in. Doesn't matter, though. Let's get on with the show here, bro. We start off. Excalibur opens the show. Do they really need to say it's Sunday and you know what that means? Can we just leave that for Dynamite?
I didn't even watch any of that part.
Okay, good lad. All right, so first match, bro. I'm gonna let you take it away. Chris Jericho taking on Ricky Starks, and I guess this is the match where the Jericho Appreciation Society is banned from ringside. What did you think?
Honestly, this is the kind of Chris Jericho I wish that we would see more often. This, to me, is the veteran Chris Jericho, the Jericho that's got his working boots on, the Jericho that knows what the fuck to do in any given situation to get the right reaction out of the crowd. I thought him and Starks had a very physical wrestling match that actually felt like it was a fight. This reminded me of a Chris Jericho pay-per-view match in terms of the way Jericho was performing, and Starks kind of gave off vibes of a young Rock, a little bit of a young Kurt Angle in the way that he was moving around in there, and it had a lot of explosiveness, high impact. I actually would give this match a B-. I thought it was a good way to open up the show, and I was pleased that Jericho did the honors here, and I'm hoping Ricky Starks moves on up to something bigger.
Lovely. I had a feeling that this would open the show. I wasn't sure why. I thought it was a great start to the match. Very physical. Nice slow build. Didn't like Jericho's Death Valley driver, though, I have to say that. I loved, my favorite spot of the match was the spear attempt into the code breaker. And, this was a hot opener. But Ricky did hit a spear later on, which I wasn't too sure about.
I liked that. I thought it was good.
I just thought he had to reach a little bit too far to connect with it. But the Jericho Appreciation Society is supposed to be banned from ringside. Sammy Guevara should not be interfering. I'm sorry. I get it, they're heels, but he shouldn't be interfering if they're barred from ringside. He gets nailed by Andretti, who happened to be there. Fuck off. But maybe they pre-planned it together, he and Ricky, just in case someone came down. But yeah, he got nailed, and as he was coming out, he had his tongue hanging out his mouth, Sammy Guevara, and I hoped that he bit his tongue after getting taken down. And they had a terrible kind of looking brawl on the outside, but a nice suspenseful, finish with Ricky Starks getting the win. I like it, and I agree. He should move up. Hopefully, they don't leave him off TV for several weeks, like when Wardlow was hot after beating MJF, and then they didn't really do a lot with him, didn't take advantage of the fact that someone just put him over. Let's move forward, bro. I can't remember what this was. The final burial match, is that right?
The final burial. It was a casket match.
Yeah, it was a casket match. It wasn't buried alive.
This was a casket match, but Tony Khan obviously enjoyed the way the WWF used to do the big pile of dirt and everything like that. So he included the whole burial set with the real dirt on the stage, but in practice, it was a normal casket match. Put the person into the casket, you win.
That's it. So I wasn't sure about this going on second, and of course I was still hoping for a Christian Cage victory, even though I know it's come on. I actually forced myself to watch Jungle Boy's entrance just to see how much it angered me, and yeah, it's I can't stand it, man. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But I was popping for the fact that Christian is wrestling in a cut-off turtleneck.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That guy is great. He's just great quality. Tony Khan will continue to push Jack Perry. He'll keep forcing this little dude to be a top name who's just going to boringly overcome obstacles. I'm never going to take it seriously, bro. Mm. Jungle Boy, early on had a bit of the advantage. I wanted the heat though, and Christian delivered the heat finally. But then there was suicide dives to the outside. Every single match, by the way, had a tope suicida.
Yeah, every single
match.
one. Not an exaggeration. Every single one on the card.
It's too much. I love the part where the fans were chanting "fuck him up, Jungle Boy, fuck him up," and Christian yanked his feet from under him and he slammed into the steel stairs. That was awesome. And then, of course, he had to do a flip off the stage to appease the fans, even though I don't think it had a place in this match. Love the desperation for Christian with the low blow, bro. I just was really hoping not to see a babyface prevail in this situation. I wanted something. I don't know. I know it all makes sense. But it's just too predictable for me. Foregone conclusion. Dirt in the eyes, great heel tactic. But another little tidbit on Jungle Boy, I think his facial selling needs work. Sometimes his face is very blank sometimes. So yeah, he ends another feud like he did with the Young Bucks with the chair on the skull on the ground of Christian. And once I knew that it was over, I kind of skipped ahead to the next match because I was just annoyed that Christian lost.
We'll get to that in a second, believe me.
What did you think of Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Christian Cage, bro?
So, much like the first match with Jericho and Ricky Starks, this match shows just the quality of a seasoned WWE Impact Wrestling national TV performer such as Christian. It just shows the level of difference between the top guys in AEW and everyone else in AEW. And I thought that they had a good match. I thought Jungle Boy, as you said, his facial expressions are very blank. He has a certain monotone to him that is not his fault and isn't a permanent thing. It can be overcome. I do think he'd be somebody that would benefit from just spending more time practicing cutting promos and maybe even doing some acting classes here or there. But overall, I thought this match was really good. I felt like Christian at certain times had to sort of dumb things down a little bit just to fit in with what Tony Khan had booked. Like the whole thing of Christian puts Jungle Boy in the casket for the first time and then he's desperately pushing the casket lid down and Jungle Boy's managing to keep it up. Why doesn't Christian just put all of his body weight on the casket lid and just jump on top of it? And then the adverse to that, why wouldn't Jungle Boy use his feet to just kick the casket lid off and use all that extra power instead of struggling back and forth with his arms? That's neither here nor there. I could take it or leave it, Jungle Boy winning. I just hope Christian gets away from Jungle Boy. No more Luchasaurus, no more Jungle Boy, nothing. Just go back to being Christian, work with some people that can work, have good matches. I'd give this probably a C+.
Wonderful. Moving forward, AEW Trios Tag Titles, the Elites defending against the House of Black. What did you think, Jooseyboy?
This was shit. This was absolutely shit. It was. It really was. It started up. It's a match for the AEW Trios titles. Nothing made sense. There was 500 different running knees, 500 different super kicks, about 10 different dives. Most of them, the opponents were just blatantly waiting there. to be jumped on top of. The referee was acting like there were no rules at random times. Like at one point, I saw one of the Elite stop what they were doing after doing this big complex sequence of triple teams and stuff, step back over the ropes to the apron, put his hand out, take a tag to become legal, and then step back in and continue doing what he was doing. So they were tagging in and out, even though it didn't matter, because they just were doing everything as if this was tornado rules. This absolutely sucked. The first two matches of the pay-per-view, I was like, we got ourselves an all right little show here. It's an all right little show. This match comes on absolute shit. Aleister Black and I think Buddy Matthews are the only people that visually look like anything in the match. I think that Brody King tries to pull off this big tough guy look that's not really, it's not happening. I don't think anyone's really scared of him. It just looks like the tattoos and everything were done for sure. This sucked. D-. Like, this was really bad. Really, really bad.
Right.
That's all I can really say about it. It was just bad.
No worries, bro. By the way, is there like a whimpering dog in the background at your place?
Sorry. It's there's a fan on in the background. There we go.
There's an oscillating fan that's
squeaking. It's an oscillating fan.
All right, bro. Well, I had slightly different feelings about the match, but not, too far off the pace. Malachi Black came in so hot as a character, and they just really pumped the brakes on him to put him in this group. Not that I have anything against the other guys in the group, but I just feel like, I almost forgot he was in AEW for some time. I think the build for the match was extremely poor, as many may have seen on my AEW Dynamite review from last week. I did like, there was a part of the match where there was like a cutoff of a potential triple dive to the outside where they all came face to face in the ring. I thought that was cool. And then it broke into a brawl, but then that's where it kind of fell apart because it was all a setup to start doing the obligatory dives to the outside, which, as we know, I can't fucking stand the fact that it's always obligatory. You know what's going to happen when it's about to happen. And I just feel like the Elite can't go through it. Imagine them trying to have a match and going through at least one match without relying on that stuff. I don't think they can do it. So it's 3 matches in a row with dives.
Yeah. I was just my eyes were glazed over watching it.
I don't understand how more people's eyes don't get glazed over when they see it all the time. It's supposed to be a tag match. Referee did not give a shit. I actually was impressed with Brody King the most, which is what was kind of different in my thoughts and yours. I thought he did really good in this one. He cut a good pace, and I thought he came across as a threat. And I was also thinking, I don't really mind Omega so much. It's just when the Young Bucks come in the ring and do that shit is when I start getting annoyed. Like, he's okay sometimes, depending who he's working with. But, man, they're just, I don't know. I'm never going to be into the Young Bucks. I just never. Julia Hart looked hot in that outfit, by the way. And I did like the part where she got laid out. That was pretty funny. And then Kenny takes a sweet spin kick from Malachi. And I like the way he sold it by kind of like falling on his ass and nearly doing the splits. Because he got knocked so silly that, his legs just went from under him. But again, with the Young Bucks, how piss weak are your super kicks if you have to hit them like it's a punch? BTA trigger from all 3 of them. And that's when I started thinking the match is starting to go a little bit too long for my liking. I think they could have shaved 3 minutes off this. I think Buddy was kind of missing in this match, but he did hit a knee to one of the Bucks, which was really sick. And then the finish came, and House of Black won. And I was like, thank God. Thank God. They needed something. The Elite don't need it. They've done everything now. Okay, let's move forward, bro. Saraya with Toni Storm taking on Jamie Hayter, the champion, defending. She got Britt Baker at ringside with her and Ruby Soho in a 3-way for the AEW Women's Championship. I'll run through my fucking notes. I think Saraya is hotter now than ever. I laughed at Taz singing Ruby Soho's theme song. He's just like, he's such a dad. I think Jamie Hayter is doing a great job, and I like her presentation. She comes across like a star. It's an all-out brawl into the crowd. But you know what? I would put this on second because I feel like the Christian Jungle Boy match was too similar to the Jericho, Ricky Starks, like kind of feud ender type matches. So I probably would have put this there. Saraya takes this apron bump, and I thought to myself, man, I just don't think she should take bumps like that, considering, you know, she didn't wrestle for how many years because of her neck and shit. Yeah, Tony and Britt get involved, so there's, you know, the interference we were all expecting. They kind of got me at one stage. I thought Ruby might have won the match, but Jamie then got the surprise roll-up pin. So, you know, I think the title reign probably should continue. And then Tony Storm attacks after. Oh, God, she's really hot, bro. So Ruby dumps Paige and Tony to the outside. I liked this. And then it looks like she chooses to side with Jamie and Britt. This is the story that's been going on. Both teams have been wanting her to be with them. And she just nails Jamie Hayter with this sick kick. It's like the whole match, I wasn't entirely kind of like impressed with Ruby's work because sometimes she's so small. Sometimes things come across a little disjointed. But that kick that she laid into Jamie Hayter's face was really, really good. And then Tony Storm fucks up the cameraman, which I loved. I love when civilians get hurt. And then she's joined up with Saraya and Tony. But one thing I would say, it's weird that during the match, like a kick like that to the head, they'd be back up straight away. But when it's after the match, they're out cold. They're out cold for minutes on end. What did you think of the women's title match, bro?
Yeah, I thought that this benefited from following the trio's title match because at least this was actually a fucking wrestling match, and I've got to give it to the ladies. I thought this was pretty good. I'm giving it a C+. I think that there is a lot of star potential in Jamie Hayter. Out of all the women that are homegrown in AEW, I think Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker are currently the ones who would have the most potential getting contract offers from the other major companies. I think Saraya looked pretty good for someone that had such a long break, but it's another case of why did she even sign there? You know, if she's going to come back and wrestle, it should have been for WWE. I'd even be more excited to see her in Impact, just creatively speaking, because I already feel like she's gotten lost in the shuffle. This wasn't too bad. It didn't outstay its welcome. I thought that everybody worked hard. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, mate. Coming up next, Texas death match.
Oh my god.
Adam Hangman Page versus John Moxley. I'm going to let you take it away, but before you start, I'm just going to say I'm bored of babyface Hangman Page, and I'm bored of Moxley's pseudo tough guy bullshit. Take it away.
Okay, so I used to think that John Moxley was a very good professional wrestler that cut his teeth doing the deathmatch style, that was fond of the deathmatch style, but was capable of working just about any style of wrestling. And as of this match, I have officially realized that he likes this deathmatch style with a lot of blood and a lot of gruesomeness as opposed to spectacle. He likes the gruesome side of deathmatch wrestling, and you had these two guys, one of whom is a former WWE and AEW world champion. The other one is a former AEW world champion. They come out there both wearing gear like they're indie wrestlers working in a basketball court in a high school gym somewhere. They're on this major league show, this international presentation, and they're bleeding like stuck pigs. Moxley's using a fork. It's just, they're no-selling stuff. They're doing all kinds of... You know, there was some moments in this where I enjoyed it, whether it be the shot to the back with the barbed wire steel chair, or some of the more brutal elements like that, but the pile driver onto the chain, things like that I didn't dislike, because, you know, they're sort of their feats of spectacle that you sort of can't look away from. But as an overall match, I just thought that this was dreadful. I even noticed the announcers make fun of it at certain times, like how easily Moxley bleeds. I think Hangman Page looked better than Moxley in this match. I thought that he was acquitting himself quite well. I did not care for this. I don't think that this worked. I don't think that this was worthy of being called a Texas death match. I don't think that, in large part, people are buying what Moxley is selling right now. And I think that both guys really can be doing a lot better than what we saw here.
Right. Yeah. By the way, John Moxley, Wrestling Observer, voted as Wrestler of the Year for last year, apparently. Yeah, and I wrote firstly, here we go. Moxley is going to bleed straight away, and it happened.
You did, yeah.
Man, like, honestly, Fuego del Sol should challenge him to a first blood match. He'll get a big win over a former world champion. I mean, shit. Someone in the crowd at the front row had a sign that said, "It's my birthday. I want to taste Moxley's blood." That's why.
And before that, the same sign said, "I want a drink of Haterade." Like, you're never getting anywhere near Jamie Hayter.
You'll never touch her, man. All right, you wouldn't even get a whiff of her, man. Okay.
Always have to be mean. All right, continue.
Yeah, fuck them. All right.
Yeah, fuck off, cunt.
I have more of a chance of a swig of Haterade, mate, and I have no chance. I did like the fact that Heyman was stabbed in the head with a fork. That's a funny sentence. You know, but Moxley, I just can't get into him, man. I'm never going to be able to get into him. It's just something about him that I just can't stand. I think his body doesn't look very good at the moment, you know, and I'm not trying to echo Jim Cornette or anything like that. Oh, you're a WWE stan. Shut up.
No, not really.
Think he does look homeless. I think he looks terrible. Put on some elbow pads at least. He just looks like he just come off, you know, the street. I thought Hangman's selling wasn't too bad. But, you know, they do unnecessary things like wrapping himself in barbed wire and doing a moonsault off the top rope to the outside.
Yeah.
Moxley out of nowhere uses a cutter. Why? You know, can we please stop killing these moves, okay? We don't all have to do cutters. We don't all have to do super kicks. We don't all have to do the same things.
Everyone doesn't have to do a DDT. Everyone doesn't have to do a kick. There doesn't need to be a moonsault in everyone's arsenal.
Yeah. I thought the bricks were lame, but the pile drive onto the chain was cool. See, something cool would happen, then something would happen and we'd be like, oh,
that's right.
Sake, man, come on. Dead eye into the barbed wire chair, not bad. The bump onto the barbed wire bed was a little bit disappointing, and I don't think it was shot properly. When Moxley was laying on that barbed wire bed and he's bleeding, and every time I've seen him in the last few weeks, he's been bleeding. I was just looking at him, and I just thought to myself, what are you doing with yourself, dude? What are you doing?
That's what I always think. I can't even get fully lost in the story because I'm always just thinking, dude, you used to be a WWE champion, like the Shield, legendary faction, multiple-time WWE champion. Like, you've been in the ring with AJ Styles, like the Undertaker, like
John Cena.
Cena, fucking Jesus Christ, Evolution. And now this is what he's doing.
So maybe I'm getting confused. You know, I wasn't. Is this a Texas death match or is it last man standing match? You know, what are the rules? Because he won the rules tapping out from being hung by the Hangman.
It was only knockout or submission. Was the only way to.
But when they're down on the floor, is that knockout counting to 10? I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so that's how we go. Okay, fine. I thought Texas Death was different. I thought you get a pinfall and then they have to be down for a 10 count afterward. But
I think Tony.
This is the AEW version.
Tony's just using the name Texas Death Match.
Right. Yeah. I thought one thing that annoyed me was that Excalibur tried to compare Moxley to Bruiser Brody. Fuck you, dude.
Nah.
Anyway, let's move forward, bro. TNT title. I'm going to get through this one real quick. Wardlow taking on the champion, the king of television, Samoa Joe. I like that nickname. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought that this was a foregone conclusion to me. I was expecting Wardlow to win, considering Joe got the win last time, and then Joe's going to hopefully exclusively work for Ring of Honor. They got to keep things separate now that they're doing the Ring of Honor thing. If I see Joe still on AEW, I'm going to be like, "What are you fucking doing, bro?" Joe does do a suicide, like that's a part of his repertoire. So I wasn't surprised that he did one as well. But it's just like every match, fucking suicide dive. Not tope suicida. Fuck you. I don't like Wardlow's haircut. This was a palate cleanser, but I think a little bit unfair to Joe and Wardlow to have to follow the bloodbath. Okay. There was an F5 from Wardlow, and I think if Brian Cage does the F5, then Wardlow shouldn't. But maybe Brian Cage will be specifically in Ring of Honor now, even though he was on AEW a few weeks ago to lose to fucking Jungle Boy. Okay, another thing that I've got to complain about with Excalibur, bro. Wardlow does a Swanton bomb and he calls it a Senton Atomico. Fuck up. Call it a Swanton, you fuckwit. You fucking nerd. It's a put off.
A Senton Atomico has to involve a Tope Atomico leading into it, which that would not be anyway. It would, even if you wanted to be technical, like Eddie Guerrero used to do it, like a Senton, like a Tope Atomico, where he'd springboard from the outside off the apron and kind of do a three-quarter roll in midair and land on him. Right. That's a Tope Atomico into a Senton.
Yeah.
Right? If you just jump off the top, it's just doing a fucking Senton bomb or Swanton bomb.
Yeah, Excalibur, you fucking nerd.
Fucking nerd.
I think Wardlow could be a modern day Mike Awesome if they book him correctly. Every time Hobbs went on the screen, the crowd popped. He's hot right now with that audience. But I did find the finish to be very boring. Obviously, Wardlow probably can't hit a powerbomb on Joe. So I had to think of something else. I thought the finish was boring, but he wins the belt back. And yeah, there we have it. What did you think of the TNT title match, bro?
Yeah, this is going to get another C minus. As a match itself, it was definitely refreshing after that trash between Moxley and Adam Page that came before it. But it was also felt more like a TV match than a pay-per-view match. I tend to agree with you. It was probably, both these guys probably deserved a bit better. I think that they worked really hard. I think Wardlow, they need to decide what they're going to do with him. He needs to be on TV and in the mix or not in the mix, and they can't have it both ways. Samoa Joe, he did well here, but he's another person. I wonder, like, why did you come here? You know, like, yes, the money, but creatively speaking, what good was it coming here for him?
Yeah.
Comparatively to the kind of thing that he was doing in WWE.
Yeah. Did you give it a rating?
Yeah, C minus.
Okay, cool. All right, so we've got 2 matches to go, and I'm running out of time here before I've got to leave to go to a concert. So I'll keep my thoughts very simple for these next 2 tag team titles. Jarrett and Lethal, the Gun Club defending, the Acclaimed and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Bro, what did you think of this 4-way tag title match?
Well, I think it's risky for AEW, Tony Khan, to book these types of matches with so many inexperienced young wrestlers in it, but I think they pulled it off quite well. You know, I think the Acclaimed are definitely stars. Lethal and Jarrett still remain stars despite how they're booked. I really enjoyed what those 2 teams had to offer. Overall, I'd give this a C+. I think that everything came together quite well. But at the same time, it's also not really something that I cared about that much. It didn't feel like it had a ton of heat on it for me. It's just like, when will all of this intertwinedness between all the teams just end and just let's have a clean break from each other and start new programs for people and stop jogging in place so often. You can't just take people off TV for months at a time or weeks at a time, and then when you put them back on, they just pick up where they were last time, like it's a save state in a video game.
Yeah, it doesn't work like
that. Think that that's not still boring. It's still boring because by the time they've been gone and you bring them back, you're excited to see them again, so you want to see them doing something fresh. Okay? This was not a very fresh match, and that's why it's only getting a C+, because technically it was competent in the ring, but it wasn't that great overall.
Yeah, look, this is just them shoehorning people into the pay-per-view. Yeah. These tag titles always have multiple teams. Like, yes, I know the Swerve in Our Glory or whatever they were called, and the Acclaimed had a couple of pay-per-views with one another, but before that, it was all multi-team matches. Okay, so look, I haven't really got a lot to say about it. The thing that annoyed me most was there was a grown adult man in the front row with the AEW title on his shoulder. This is like a 5 hour. This is like standing there for 5 hours. Isn't it annoying holding it like that? 5 hours.
You got to keep an eye on it, like someone might pinch it. You know.
Oh, you got to keep holding onto the fucking thing.
Go there with your wallet and your fucking phone and your keys and just sit there in the chair. And
maybe bought it at the merch stand. I don't know, but fuck, I just think that's annoying. I thought Jarrett and Lethal got good heat. The guns, Jarrett and Lethal, really popped me when they all walked to the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
At the same pace, at the same time, and then they did the fucking stupid bullshit. That really made me laugh. I think the Gun Club are awesome, man. They really make me laugh, these guys. They're like these two little versions of Billy Gunn. Like, you can see it in them. And I don't know why there's so much hate from the AEW audience to them. Oh, their work rate. Fuck up. They actually fucking get heat from
they can do just as much as most people in NXT seem to be able to do.
They're getting hate, man. They're getting hate, and the fans are just getting. They don't realize it that they're getting worked. I think Satnam Singh now looks a bit like shit for the way that they just use him to fucking. I'm not even going to get into it, okay? But if Orange Cassidy hits him with an orange punch, this guy's like 7 foot. Come on.
Shouldn't even sell that. Orange Cassidy should sell himself getting hurt, trying to do that on a guy that size. Anyway.
Yeah. Wasn't into Aubrey Edwards getting such a big... Everyone's been complaining about her getting too involved. Why have her get that involved? Have it be another ref.
It's all misogyny. If you're annoyed by her, you must.
Oh God, I couldn't care. Jessica Carr in WWE is awesome.
Yeah.
And you never notice her. The Gun Club retained.
The other female ref in WWE also awesome.
It's Aya.
Yeah.
Aya something. Aya Smith. I don't know. But anyway, the Gun Club retain. And you can see some of those fans in attendance all flat in the crowd, like, that they had Gun Club win.
We wanted to do this.
We wanted to do this. Because then we could have chanted, oh, scissor me,
How about this? If you're upset about that fucking win, you can go home and scissor each other about it and, see if it'll change it. It won't. You'll be back.
Yeah,
you'll be back for the next show.
Yeah.
See you next show.
Yeah, you got worked into a shoot. FTR are back apparently as well.
Oh, I didn't like this either, but that's all I'm gonna say. I just don't think they're above getting involved in this kind of shit.
Yeah. All right, bro. Time for the main event. It is the 60-minute Ironman match. It is, well, actually 65-minute technically Ironman match. MJF defends the championship against American Dragon Bryan Danielson. I'm going to let you take this one away, bro. What were your thoughts on the Ironman match?
Yeah, I'm going to give this one an A-. I think this was probably the best match on the show. Yeah. I think that both guys once again had a world-class performance. I do worry about Bryan Danielson, the person, in terms of his health. Like, how is his body and how healthy is it to continue competing in matches like this? But from an in-ring point of view, really well done. I think that MJF once again continues to show that he can hang in just about any given situation. I thought it was cliched to have some kind of overtime in an Ironman match. That's what they did the very first time they did an Ironman match. Um, I really wanted to see just a winner come out at the end of the Ironman match. By the time we got into the submission with the clock winding down, I knew that we weren't going to get a clean finish, even though I thought that spot was cool. After the match, I sort of thought it was a bit clumsily handled, the way that Tony gets some info in his ear and goes down there, and you already know what's happening even before they announce it, like if you're in the live arena. So they restart the match again, and it's sudden death, and I liked the spot with MJF hitting him in the oxygen tank. Thought that should have been the finish, because it would have been a nice, dastardly, heelish way for him to win. And you kind of would be questioning whether he really and truly had it in him to beat him fair and square or not. But either way, they ended up having Bryan Danielson tap clean, which was surprising, but a very generous way to put MJF over. I thought the match was good. This was really the only match on the pay-per-view for me that felt pay-per-view caliber. Everything else kind of felt like, all right, we got some matches that could be a decent TV main event, and then we have, it just felt like a more glorified episode of TV.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. It kind of did feel that way. Even though there were some feud-ending matches here, some of these things didn't seem too epic for their conclusions. But, maybe they're doing a little bit of less is more, but maybe they went a little bit too far less. But this was fantastic. And this gets a Karlifornia recommendation. Go out of your way to check it out. Does that annoy you? Does that annoy you, bro?
Yeah, never do that again.
Okay. Look, I haven't really got... I could go through all my notes that I wrote down here, but I'm basically just going to be talking about what happened in the match. I loved the psychology. I loved MJF being so dastardly as a character in comparison to everyone else. He's on a completely different level to everyone else. Some of these guys, they can keep up with him, like a Danielson. He's been keeping up with him on the mic and all that stuff. And, Punk was clearly keeping up with him as well. But I think this guy just fucking killed it on this show. He's clearly been working on his physique. He knows what's important in wrestling. He knows that presentation is important. And I guess the only thing that annoyed me about this whole thing, you kind of alluded to it. Okay, Tony Schiavone, yep, he's got word in his headset. Yep, I can do that. He goes up to Justin Roberts, who's got a fucking earpiece in his fucking ear. Fucking come on, man. Like, those, I know people out there will be like, oh, who cares? It's like, no, those details matter.
It matters. Because
it matters.
In
Why does he have an
wrestling
earpiece
shows, they would have actually just sent the guy, they would have just actually sent it in his earpiece and had the ring announcer say it.
And then, of course, Justin Roberts, Tony Khan will not let this match end in a draw. It's just like, fucking stop it.
You booked it, Khan. You booked it to not have a definitive winner at the end of the 60 minutes. Don't try to make yourself look like a hero, but you fuck it.
Yeah, he's the hero. There we go. There we have it, Jooseyboy. That's our review of AEW Revolution 2023. That main event stole the show. Jooseyboy, what are your final thoughts and rating for Revolution 2023?
Look, my final thoughts for Revolution 2023 is most of this show you could afford to give it a miss, except for that main event Ironman match, which has a Jooseyboy recommendation. Go out of your way to check it out because I can't do it justice. But this show is only going to be getting a 5.5 out of 10 from me. People may think that that's a low rating, but honestly, this show felt like a chore to get through because most of it had no heat on it, and the things that did have heat on it and were enjoyable weren't enough on their own to lift off the stench of the rest of the paper. That trios match especially, just god-awful. God-awful.
Right. Well, I didn't dislike it as much as you did. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Probably... in comparison to all their other pay-per-views, I probably enjoyed this more than most of them. But That's just saying how much I did not like the other pay-per-views. Clearly, All Out 2021 is still the best pay-per-view that they have put on. So that's it, Juicy Boy. I thank you for your time.
Yeah, no worries.
And thank all of you for joining us here for the WZWA Network review of AEW Revolution 2023. I'm Karlifornia. This is Jooseyboy, and we will see you down the road. Thank you.
Network, that's the way we play. Good God Almighty. Network, that's the way we play. Get puppies. Network, that's the way we play.
The following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.